just creating the highest frequency supplement on the planet at the moment.
That's it.
We can start there and stop there if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been incredible. I think we were talking about it before the show started. It's like we had this beautiful intention to create a business from the heart, and then once it actually, the last 12 months of actually being in the business, it's a totally different experience, but it's been the most rewarding experience of my life so far. And I'm truly blessed to be on the path, and meeting people like yourself has been a game changer for us. And it was the first podcast that we launched with. And it's awesome to be back in Austin, Texas, to be the first podcast that we're back on too. So appreciate the message that you're putting out there as well, and the support and love. And you and I connect all the time. So for our friendship and brotherhood, I'm deeply grateful. So thank you.
Same. Don't make me cry in the first 5 minutes of this podcast, man. It's interesting that I brought up light earlier, and it's where we went in our first conversation. I feel like right now, I wonder how you feel. It's like the time for light has never been more important. Mm-hmm. If we're ever going to shift the narrative, not just collectively, but individually, because that's where it all starts. It starts with the physical body. It starts with the etheric field. It starts with all the aspects of self. Mm-hmm. So how has that morphed and twisted and changed for you since Feb 23 when we podcasted last?
Yeah, probably the biggest part of the journey since then has been the growth of the product in the market, and Brad and I going from founders of creating a beautiful finished product to then going on that journey of running the project, and the consistency and the capacity of everything that goes with that. So because we go to so much trouble to get the raw materials from incredible locations all around the world, do all of our own importing and manufacturing and co-packing, and then we deal with all of our affiliates and sales and marketing. So just the growth and the capacity to deal with all of that has been massive, as well as also sitting in that truth and sitting in that heart space and not having a business plan, doing everything still built off relationship. That's probably been the greatest challenge, and also the greatest reward in the last year.
It's also cool though, because you don't have to get a bunch of outside people that try to whittle their way into the heart and soul of the business. Like, y'all can actually lead it from your hearts. And then of course, the flip side of that is the challenges for you to stay in your heart. It's a paradox, because there's stressors that come up. Like, maybe we can start there too. To bring light to the world is not always easy. It's sometimes very challenging. So for the people that are drawn to this light, which I think is all of us, whether we know it or not, I wonder if we could unpack that a little bit. The challenges of bringing light, not just to the physical body through mana, but also the light of our thinking, how we can actually love and interface with others because we've done that real work on us. I think that's a deep conversation.
Yeah, I feel super fortunate with Brad and myself and a couple of other members on the team that we went on a pretty deep journey before creating Mana, before creating the project. And that journey kind of allowed us to connect with the truth or the source of life. And so we kind of have that as a base layer or a foundation for everything that we do. So it gives us a lot of, I would say, confidence and courage. Obviously, when you're dealing with a project and everything that can happen, there's times when there's a lot of challenges. And we realize that just by putting attention on those challenges and staying in the right frequency ourselves, that the answers will appear to us, and we can keep pushing and keep staying inductive with the field to get those answers. So yeah, it's a massive journey. It's something that we probably underestimated to some extent. However, we just stay super present. And I think the support and the love that we have for each other from the journey that we went on before we started Mana just has a really beautiful foundation for not only our relationship, but the rest of the team at Mana, and then all of the internal and external stakeholders that we deal with.
There's a picture on the screen right now of y'all deep in, I believe it was the Himalayas, where you source the original Shilajit from. And I think you were even holding a staff in one of the photos. I mean, there was a huge journey. I also Tasmania as well, and just nature probably in different continents of the world. For people that don't know anything at all about Shilajit, because it's really the foundation of the Ormus, of the gold, of the ocean, of the original mana, go there first if they're literally just feeling and hearing us for the first time. What is it? Why should we care? What is it really here for us, not just on a physical level, but on a healing level as well?
Yeah, I'll jump into that. I mean, Shilajit really is the greatest superfood that we've found in a decade of searching for all the greatest superfoods on the planet. And the reason I say that so confidently is when we test it in laboratory, it literally has all of the micronutrients that we need in abundance from a holistic perspective as well. So that's really powerful product. Getting it from the locations that we get it from is really important. But within the brand now of Mana, we have 3 active ingredients that we're super passionate about. And we call them white gold, black gold, and now 24 karat yellow gold in a nano gold form. So because we have those 3 products that we've been researching in so much depth, we just know having the actual best source of those and putting them together in an appropriate way, how much benefit they're going to have for humanity. And so, that's something that we just don't compromise on. We just make sure we keep providing that best quality materials, best quality substances of those 3. And we know that if we do that and we're in our integrity and can get them out to as many people as we can, that's kind of all we need to do from that supply side of the business. Yeah.
There's a big piece of this, and it's actually giving people the nutrients that are just quite simply not found in our food anymore, right? Yeah. Can you speak to that? Because this is really a jumping off point for people that say, well, I'm a breatharian, or I just look at the sun, or there's people out there that haven't eaten calories in decades, but yet they're still alive. Science can't explain this, y'all. It just can't. But for the rest of us, for the far majority of us, like, we need these micronutrients. We need this light. And it's just quite simply some of the episodes we've done with Zach Bush, or even recently Craig Conover, who we were talking about with Mana. He loves your product. The light that we need is not found in the food that we're eating. Totally. And I think that's really worth mentioning and going into.
Yeah, well, there's no micronutrients in the soils anymore. And Zach talks about it often as well. And that's a lot of those micronutrients like fulvic acid, humic acid, which is basically the life force within the soil, because they've been monocropped, over-farmed for sort of modern day diets. So what we're saying is, like, everyone has to have the basis of micronutrients in their diet, and that starts with fulvic and humic acid. And once that does, it starts the bioavailability of those in the blood system. So it starts from the base all the way to the top. So it's incredible for hormones, and it just regulates everything within the body too. So it works in perfect harmony with sort of getting those things from the soil that we didn't have anymore. So we don't have anymore. So it's really important to have those in your diet today.
Yeah, I remember on our last podcast, you were talking about the piano keys. And, if we're playing with half the piano keys, the symphony is not going to sound very good. So we really need to get to access all the keys, because if we don't, life is going to be a lot harder. And then we're not going to be able to show up for our partners, for our ladies, for our women in the way that we want to, because we're literally on a biochemical level, we're just fucking held back. And I think that's really, really important for everyone to get right now.
Yeah, it's the raw materials. I like to call it the raw materials that the body needs. And if you can get people's like a basic understanding that you need the raw materials for your body to function and thrive. And that's it. And if you start there, then that's the sort of building blocks for all health. So you can sort of turn the electrical system on, like with our sort of cry is like turning you on. Yeah. Like, because if you're not turned on, like, you can't access certain information within the body, because it's pristine blueprint, or it's like vital body is really important for that access to information.
Whoa. So you love that episode? You'll love the one on the screen. Click it and enjoy.